You heard it here first, Nurture. Not too afraid of going up against the idea of dark or innovation on the stage if it comes to that. A warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, as we are currently in bracket number 4, figuring out who are going to be the last 3 to qualify through into the group stage. With me on the desk, we do have Mr. Rotterdam, we have Artosis, and we also have Pig here. Now, we're already kind of in the midst of one of the series, Artosis, for you. We have Minimath and Cuben currently warring it out.
Yeah, and you know, Minimath kind of on a known team, AAA, against all authority, I think. And he lost the first game. Minimath did take him out. It was a big macro game on Belshire. I only caught the end of it, but it was like a giant, like, Heart of the Storm style Colossus death ball, like 3 Colossus, 5 Archons, a ton of Blink Stalkers. And it was against Mass Broodlord Corruptor with some ground units mixed in. So he was able to outmaneuver Minimath and take that, and now we're here on Proxima Station. And I mean, it's very early in the game, so we can't tell exactly what's going to go on yet. So I can't really give you too much, but that's kind of surprising having Cuben lead immediately. Yeah,
I'm just going to throw a curveball and just noticed that Mana versus Rain had finished up. Can you regale us with what happened in the first game?
Pretty straightforward PvP as well. Mana just made a couple Stalkers, ran across the map, had a couple sentries, dropped some good force fields, shaved off units one by one, and secured a very easy, straightforward victory.
All right, not too bad, not too bad. So our next series coming up is going to be Patience going up against Guru here. This is a qualification match for the Intel Extreme Masters group stage. So guys, what are we thinking here? With Guru doing so well there against Mana in the previous series, can he make the upset against Patience here? Pig, what do you think?
I think Guru does have a shot, but Patience is a very different beast. He's really looked in his element in Legacy of the Void. Mana has had 1 or 2 flashes of brilliance in Legacy of the Void. Otherwise, doesn't have too many tournament performances worthy of mention. Patience, on the other hand, oh wow, he's been hitting semi-finals in GSLs. He won a Home Story Cup. He's like the scrappy, messy king of Legacy of the Void. He's the guy who we see in a base trade every second game, microing every Dark Templar and Blink Stalker to the last moment. And I feel like if there's one guy who can deal with the sort of craziness and the Ling aggression and all that sort of stuff that Guru's going to throw his way, I think it's definitely Patience.
Yeah, I have to definitely agree with that. And the metagame of the Korean Protosses is a bit different. A lot more Archon drops, which are very good against Zergling-based strategies. A lot later third bases with a lot of the strategies. You know, like a lot of Glaives and Stargates and stuff. So I think a lot of the tactics that, you know, Guru has shown us against Mana and other Protosses are maybe not going to be quite as effective against Patience.
Final thoughts, Roddy, before we go?
Should be a very fun series. I think it really comes down to the early game. You know, often you have people say like, oh, if it's 3 base or 4 base, but we know that Guru likes to get a small edge early on. If he's somehow able to sneak a couple Lings in or get a successful Ling drop, it's possible, but Patience is the favorite. All
right, well, thank you very much, gents. We'll be checking in with you during the series, of course, as we go to game number 1. Again, it's a qualification match as we head over to the commentary desk for, of course, Mr. Guru going up against Patience.
Our first qualification match for our last group here, day 2 at ESL Studios here in Poland. Got the Home Story Cup champion Patience going up against Guru, the online warrior.
This is going to be a tough one for Guru, but I got my fingers crossed for him. I like him. I like what he was talking about in his interview. That was pretty cute. He's like, well, you know, I really like that this is next to my house. This event, I hope they keep bringing it back here. You know, Poland always, all the way back into the very, very early days of Brood War, they've had great RTS players, and that hasn't changed at all here in Legacy of the Void.
Since the early 2000s. And I mean, really, being in your hometown, and even in his demeanor, in that interview, you can tell that Guru hasn't had a ton of stage experience. This is a brand new environment and mindset he needs to get used to. But first of all, in the bottom right, let's introduce these players. In the bottom right here, the Home Story Cup champion, I brought that up a little bit before. This is Patience.
And in the upper left, in the blue, our Zerg player from Poland, he is Guru.
Currently teamless. Guru is an online warrior. This guy's played Wardy Weeklies. He's been playing in the, in plenty of Go for SC2, the EU Cup divisions for ESL. But he, the big LAN appearances, just doesn't really have them under his belt.
I think this game that we're going into right here is probably, at least for now with Guru, the pinnacle of his esports career.
I'd agree with that.
Am I wrong about that?
No,
I think this is fair to say. A tournament of this scope, a player that's this good. Patience? Are you kidding me? This guy is a killer. What does Guru have in store for us? I'm not sure, but I cannot wait to find out.
If he beats Patience here, I mean, pretty much the same could be said for every bracket because every bracket has a lot of scary dudes in it. But if he beats Patience here, cannot be argued that he absolutely deserves to be in the round 24 in Spodek Arena. And Patience, you know, he was clinical when he beat Minimath. I mean, Minimath had a really close game too. Yeah. But Guru is a different beast, and he's been looking really good lately. Obviously, he's here in the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, and he's made it to the qualifying matches. So. Just one more best of 3 is all it's going to take here for either of these players.
And this is a tall order for him. So, there is, you know, I feel like as good as Mana is as a player, I don't know if this is going to be a helpful warm-up to somebody of the caliber of Patience. Patience, a lot of players say, you know, in practice is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, and he's pretty terrifying when you get out of practice as well.
Yeah.
He's, yeah.
Oh, no, sorry. I was just going to say, like, you know, when I do hear the players talk, they're just like, oh, we got to send Patience out. Like when I was doing Pro League, all the time backstage, they'd be talking about, okay, Patience is so sick, we got to send him out against this guy. He can basically beat anybody. And it's funny because I don't feel like his control is that good, but he just always has a lot of stuff.
Yeah. He is a guy that has been known to aggressively blink and make questionable blink decisions in PvP, but, you know, and he is going to do a bit of a mana block here with his pylon to delay that third hatchery of Guru. He can take the one to the south of his main if he's got his heart set on the third base right now. Alternatively, you can just delay that a little bit, maybe make units instead.
Yeah, this is a smart play because this comboed with the Adepts is super annoying. He's going to continue to hit these drones. The pylon can't really be approached until these Adepts have been taken out. And I think with the shading that's been happening here with these Adepts, he's just doing a really good job. Yeah, that was beautiful. Keeping both of them alive.
Yeah, 4 drone kills, 0 Adepts dead.
Whoa,
very brilliant stuff there.
22 lings with speed. Now this, I think it's possible that Guru may have felt forced into this because he's already in an uncomfortable spot. And good Protoss players can do this to Zerg players.
And he's actually going to marry this up with going for Dropper Lords. So he's going to morph the Overlord here to the north of Patience's main, which he has 0 vision of. Yeah. And he's going to get a lot of speedlings up in that Overlord. And this could actually do a lot of damage to Patience here. Patience with this pylon is scouting the ferry on in, but the Mothership Core is not going to be enough. He's going to need Adepts on the ground as well. His production, he doesn't have Warp Gate yet. He's going to be making Adepts one by one out of these gateways.
So many lings coming in here, but the angling is not quite good. Adepts in the main, still hitting these lings. The rest of the lings come to meet up with the rest, but I think the sheer Adept number may be problematic. He hasn't really gotten a lot of probes, only 2 so far, but now the probe harass is really kicking in.
Yeah, starting to get more probe kills now. Now it's starting to get up there in the worth it number. 6 probe kills. He's starting to drone up behind this, so he's not done yet. But Patience looking like he's probably going to hold this, but he took a lot of damage, 7 drone kills.
So right now, after that's all said and done, 21 workers here for Guru with 26 for Patience. Initially didn't look like that was going to do as much damage as it could have, but yeah, once he started hitting those probes with the expansion, it really started working out. I believe we have another drop coming in here as well into the main, unless I'm mistaken.
That's just an Overlord parked over there.
I'm sorry. Okay, I thought he tried to pick up in the Overlord that was actually above that screenshot. Okay, he did get that denied over there and is forced to back up. So it looks like Patience is starting to stabilize.
Yeah, Guru can go home now. It's a lot more Adepts than he can handle with his feelings and to pull back. And Patience is going for something that he usually does, which is go for, you know, resonating glaives, and he likes to do the Archon drop, which Artosis brought up on the analysis panel. And you know, we do see that the Twilight Council is done. Robo is on the way. It has signs that he's probably going for it again, but he's getting a Stalker as well because he wants to shoo away these Overlords.
So most certainly.
And there's that Dark Shrine. He's absolutely going for it.
Yeah, most certainly Patience is now aware of where the Zerg's third base would be, since the only logical location would be in that upper left expand that we're seeing right over here. Now, he doesn't have vision of it, but you pretty much know at this point in time. They had to have made a third. Their aggression would have been way more tremendous otherwise. And
Guru's actually trying to double expand here, which is a little dangerous because there's a lot of Adepts on the field.
I'm not sure this is a wise decision against somebody as good as Patience. I think if you're against maybe a sloppier Protoss, or if you did a lot more damage, it would be okay. But in this case, I feel like the fact that Patience is gearing up to be aggressive pretty quickly here, Zerg can start to get pulled apart.
Absolutely, and that is a base killing amount of Adepts here. A lot of them heading to the right here. for Patience. I don't know if Guru's going to be able to save this hatchery. I'm not sure what his Zergling counts at. Actually, there's a lot of Zerglings. If they all group together and get a nice surround, he could actually kill a couple before they shade off.
You can see the Lynx, they have a really good surround coming over here. The rest of the Adepts will shade away. He wants to try to hug the edge of the map over here, but I think the Lings coming in right now should just be able to do too much damage. And Patience with a massive overextension. These Lings so much more expendable than these Adepts.
And I feel like even if Guru microed that a bit better, he could have got a couple more Adepts there. The Queen's starting to do the rest, pulling the drones away. Looks like he may have lost one, but so far Guru's trading very, very nicely against Patience.
The Queens continue to press up here into this.
What's he doing?
And I don't know what the game plan is with that. Not really damaging any of these drones, and he might be able to pull this off, but the 3 Dark Templars are warping in. Is Guru prepared?
Well, he has to get Spore Crawlers. I don't know if he has a leg yet, so he's just...
I don't think he has one in his main.
He's on Hatchery Tech, so the Spore Crawlers is his only detection. He can't make Overseers. He has to body block that, and he is right now. Needs to delay, needs to get the Spore up to be able to hold against these DTs. Patience can't get the angle. He needs to pick up these DTs and leave, or the Lings will finish him off.
All right, he's finally been able to get over to where the Spores are, but the Lings may have been reduced in such great numbers that these DTs can still do a good amount of damage, and I believe he's now going to warp in a few Adepts over here, which make combat these Lings a little bit easier, but overall, I got to say, Patience is not really having the clean game I expected from him.
Well, I mean, the upside of those DTs dying is he got 14 drone kills, knocking the Zerg down to 28 workers versus his very healthy economy of 53 probes on 3 bases.
And it's certainly going to be hard for him to actually get any drones up at that base in the far upper right, considering that so many drones were picked up there. 4 more Gateways and Immortals now being cranked out, along with +1 attack for Protoss. He should have another attack coming in pretty soon. But first, he's going to have to deal with Guru's counter.
Nice move here with these Lings, going to get a couple probes, and unfortunately for Guru, he needs to pull out. And there's not much creep spread to speak of here for the Polish Zerg. Which is going to make defending this 4th base to the very far right, you know, like you said, Tasteless, pretty tough to hold this base here. The Queens will never get over there in time if a bunch of Adepts shade in. He's going to have to rely purely on Lings, whatever units he has.
So there are all these Lings spread out here. He's trying to hit multiple locations at once. Good force field to lock those Lings from moving any further in here. And it looks like he has another drop, but there are Stalkers here to try to catch this.
Guru needs to react here. This Overlord is so slow. And it looks like the Stalkers are actually just going to kill. He's not going to control that. So this is actually a very free, easy pick-off there for Patience, and he just starts to pull ahead in this game.
I'm getting worried that Guru got a little bit over-reliant on Harass here. I don't think this is going to be too hard for Patience to deflect. We've already seen that happen here. You know, Protoss are a little bit vulnerable when they get an expansion up early on because they don't have a lot of units. But once the ball gets rolling, it's much easier for Protoss to just do these mass warp-ins. And now with the counterattack and this, the creep, somewhat disjointed, this is going to be pretty hard for Guru to hold.
And this base is in a lot of trouble. Those Zealots are just waiting for Lings to come and make their move. Speaking of Lings making their move, they are down here at the 3rd Nexus, shredding apart the probe line, doing a very good job of it. The drones and Queens of Guru coming in here for a last stand. They do lose this hatchery on the left, so Guru is knocked down to 3 bases with the top right not really being mined from. The DTs are starting to work on that hatchery, but he does have a Spore Crawl. I think he's still on hatchery tech.
Wow, so, a bunch of hallucinations coming up here. I don't even know if that was necessary, but they are taking some of that Ling damage here. The Lings continue to warp in, to surround, while the Adepts continue to warp in, juggling the Immortal back over there. I think Guru is hanging on by a thread. GG!
GG, well played, and Patience takes game number 1.
Wow.
That was an action-packed game 1 there on Belshrim.
Yeah, that was a pretty dramatic match that we just saw. Look, I think that Patience was having a little bit of a hard time at the start of the game, but if you notice, the farther it got along, I think Guru tried a little bit too hard to do this counter-harass, and I mean, the Lings just didn't really do anything.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like the attack in the main was going to be really, really, really effective there for Guru. Like, he was very, very close. But, I mean, unfortunately, didn't manage to keep that lead after he took it away there. But let's go to the guys on the analysis desk, see what they thought about the game.
Thank you very much, guys. Patience keeping his composure and sealing the deal there in game number 1. Now, of course, we do have a few games going on here at the analysis desk as well. Going to check in with Artosis, who is currently in the midst of Minimath versus Cuben, I believe, still.
Yeah, and this is actually a really cool series. Minimath was able to tie it up 1-1, but that's not really the cool part. I mean, that's kind of cool, but the really cool part is that, like, Cuben is a visitor from the past, I think. Both of the first 2 games.
Okay.
It's like he fell into a glacier during Wings of Liberty and then thawed out in Legacy of the Void. He's like, what's this, Glaives? Okay, I'll get that, and then go Colossus Void Ray. And that's like what he's doing. I mean, this game, it looks like he's going to go for a more standard build in probably an Archon drop coming up, but he is using a very old style, and he's doing a pretty good job of holding on against all the Hydra Bane shenanigans that we've seen from Minimath. So this is a close one, and it's really hard to say which way it's going to end up going.
All right, down to the wire. Thank you very much. And now we do have Mr. Rotterdam, who is currently, was with Mana and Rain, of course. The series has concluded, but you've got as a cheeky replay.
Yeah, just a small segment to show you guys where I think game number 2 got decided. It wasn't very long, but there was a small 2-gate pressure by Rain, and this is really where you can see, like, if he would have had a gateway here, this could have gone a lot better, but Mana just focused down these Stalkers that were slow warp-ins. In the end, a couple of additional units showed up, and here it almost felt like, wow, Mana might be in trouble. He lost the Mothership Core, but these Stalkers were sleeping on the job, and this Guardian Shield just did a fantastic job. And I love how Mana was just focusing on these slow warp-ins. He actually got very good trades. Like, this looks like, oh, it's going to be good for Rain, right? Like, nah, Guardian Shield is just so damn good. And from this point on, Mana had more units. I mean, the game went on for a while, but eventually Mana, just like his other game, he ran across the map with a couple of sentries, had an Immortal or 2 in the mix, the Prism. He killed the Nexus and pretty much won the game.
Awesome stuff. So, was there anything going on your side, Pig? You had Art versus Hape, but
yeah, Art managed to clean it up with a pretty convincing 2-0 PvP match, and Art really just pressuring him all game while expanding, just out-positioning and out-controlling him in game 1.
Like, I'm not that familiar with Art, but Art seems pretty good, guys. Like,
all the games I've seen of Art's are actually very strong. Like, he's playing strategically, like, pretty cutting edge. His micro, his macro, everything's good. And even his trash talk in the channel is top tier.
Okay, and yeah, the series versus Patience was pretty interesting as well.
Yeah, he had game 1. He should have won game 1. That was his game. So Art is a sleeper in that lower bracket. He could potentially make some waves.
Is he today's Ziggy? Is all the big question. If we get to see him more down the line. Of course, now we're going to go over to game number 2 here between Patience and Guru to find who moves on to the group stage.
We are going to find out if Guru can do a better job this time around. It was certainly an exciting game 1, but Patience was really able to exhibit his strength the further along the game went. Eventually, those Lings just did not do anything. And I also think Guru, he really can't do 4 bases like that quickly.
It was a little bit awkward for him. I think the lack of creep spread was also a pretty hard thing for, for any Zerg, really, when you're against a player that is rocking the Adept tech, hitting your 3rd base location while hitting the 4th at the same time. Like, what do you even do? Like, he was stuck on hatchery tech that entire game.
All right, guys, we are now going into game number 2 in this series. In the upper right, in the red, he is Patience.
And Guru just letting his opponent know what he thinks about him.
Poop emoji there.
There's the poop emoji. And in the bottom left, the local. This is Guru.
How could you do this, Guru? It's a kid's show. Families are watching. All right, but there he goes. He cleans his act up with a GLHF.
Well, you know what, Tasteless? Half of this game is mechanical, and a good chunk of it is builds, and another good chunk of it is mind games.
Some of it's crap, too. That's what he was posting there.
This poop emoji, maybe he's trying to get into Patience's mind a little bit here.
I figured I was talking about StarCraft II builds with somebody, and they're talking about, okay, you make this, tech to this. When you do this, attack, and then type the poop emoji in. And that's how the build actually.
It's part of the build.
That's part of the build is you type the poop emoji while you're attacking them, and it works.
Genius.
Yeah. Okay, so, I don't really blame Guru for trying to go for some of that aggression early on. We saw right away that with the Adept pressure, putting the pylon up there to make the 3rd base much more difficult for the Zerg to get. Patience really seized control of that game. Guru tries to react. and it just doesn't quite work. And a delayed GL.
That's
HF.
actually the cheese timing for your good luck, have fun.
Oh,
when,
wow.
When you hear good luck, have fun, or you read a good luck, have fun happen in your chat a good few minutes into the game, or a couple minutes into the game, I'm thinking there's a proxy happening.
Well, this is what you got.
Mind games on both sides here in the chat.
I'll educate you guys for just a minute. You know, here's one of the strats Tasteless does is he says, "Where are you from?" And as they're answering, that's when I drop the lings or the banelings into their worker line. All right, are you guys get your build order notebooks out? All right,
look,
put that in.
I've heard stories of your Brood War days, and I could absolutely believe that the scumbag tactics would absolutely be your forte in this game.
It's a rough place where I came, Clan X17 on the USC server, man. It was the jungle, my friend.
It's a war out there.
It's war out there.
You see
it's a thankless journey, taking nerds out one by one on the ladder.
We see a double gateway adept expand here from Patience. And this is the same opening as game number 1 on Belshire. This is obviously went really well for Patience. He killed a lot of drones, managed to control his adepts very, very well. He decided to cancel that shade just so he can clean out these Zerglings of Guru. So Guru does achieve the delaying of these two adepts, which actually quite annoying to deal with in the early game for a Zerg that just wants to make drones, which is what he's doing right now.
One thing to note as well is we didn't have any pylon there to block. Glaive upgrade, and you just hit him so hard.
Now, speaking of being hit pretty hard, it looks like Guru is again going to go for these elevated tactics. Eco Chamber on the way, Overlord speed, Pneumatized Carapace on the way there for Guru. So he's absolutely going to be doing some drop play. I thought, oh, maybe he's going to do some dark style ZvP from way back in the day, like around IEM Yongi. Everyone, not everyone, but most Zergs would be going for pretty quick Overlord speed just to get scouting information. But yeah, nice catch here in the middle with these Zerglings.
Not bad control from Patience, at least trying to keep some more of those adepts alive.
Late there, I think.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes you'll see players that just start shading across the map. This reminds me a lot of really early Legacy of the Void, where people got so excited by shading, they would just shade out, and occasionally they'd shade into the middle of an army because they're trying to get across the map so quickly. So Patience has to be careful because we see the Glaives are coming in here. By the way, the Overlord scouts it. And you really can't lose that many adepts when you're doing a build like this, or you can't, or if you do, you might not be able to rely on a pressure. And so we actually see a third Nexus coming down here.
Lair on the way here. He's getting +1 for his Lings as well, so it looks like a melee-focused build here. And he's getting also a Baneling Nest, and this Baneling Nest makes things a lot easier for Zerg when you're dealing against Adepts. Another great catch at the front, shaving off a couple of Adepts from this bowl of Patience's army. Having a look at this third Nexus here, I don't know if he's going to get too much done. He has to leave, but there is a Dropper Lord ready to ferry on into the main.
And I got to say, I think Guru's got a really good fighting chance with it. The Lings already come inside here.
Oh,
and Banelings are in the mail as far as tech goes. Will these Lings be able to get over here? 2 Adepts do warp in. He decides to go ahead and go for a surround. And no, he actually does not. He decides to change his mind. He's
trying to get away from these Adepts, Tasteless. They do shred Lings so very quickly, and they have a lot of hit points. So Guru actually has to leave, but with Overlord speed, it's so much easier to get this ferry tactic working out for him. And you're absolutely right. I think that the addition of this Baneling Nest, not only is it great against Adepts, it's also a drone line killer. You can rain them down and kill a lot of work.
What he's going to do, and again, if Patience, I don't know what Patience was doing there. That was pretty bad. He's going to lose these Adepts that are right over here. That's going to give these Lings a lot more power. The Banelings, I believe, are morphing in the main. Okay, he might unload there and make those into Banelings. Let's see.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, that would be pretty down and dirty. Let's see if he does it. That I think might be one of the better plays, and then to drop while these Lings are coming in.
The sentries are going down, actually, so the Lings in the main aren't going to do too much. They're not being controlled here by Guru, but he got a sentry here at the front, decent enough force fields to keep a couple of those Adepts alive, but Patience is kind of struggling here just against this huge amount of speedlings. They do have +1 attack, so they have a lot more DPS on the field.
I want to praise Guru for doing a really good job, but I do feel like Patience this game has been his own worst enemy. He's come out several times with these Adepts, and I almost feel like he hasn't quite been watching the screen. He might be a little bit jet lagged since he probably got in yesterday.
Well, he's from the same time zone as I am, and if my jet lag is anything to go by, it's pretty close. So we see +2 on the way here for Guru, who has lair tech this game. He's droning up very, very nicely. His work account is a little bit behind Patience's. He hasn't really been able to hit the economy of Patience much, but he's been trading pretty well against the army for the most part.
But since he's not really killing that many probes, Patience can continue to macro out a pretty big army.
Oh, this might be different.
Yep, this might be the moment he finally does kill some workers.
Yeah, a couple probes here, possibly a third. Now he's going to come in and attack these Adepts, and there's the Prism here from Patience. So, I mean, with the Robo, I'm surprised we haven't seen a Dark Shrine just yet from him. I'm sure it's not too far away, but this is just looking like his PVZ build here. This is just what he likes to do.
So there is a 4th base that's being taken here, and that's certainly not uncommon after Protoss has been up on a 3rd for a little bit. I do worry a little bit as far, you know, as the defense here for Guru goes. I feel like eventually, especially with the Warp Prism out, if it's not harass, it will be a push. And yeah, sure, I mean, Guru's been doing a good job chucking these Lings over here, trying to kill this and that, but eventually there is going to be a very strong counterattack. Patience has not really been slowed down as far as tech goes.
Well, I think Guru is actually getting ready for that counterattack you're talking about, Tasteless, because the Hydralisk Den is done. It was done a fair bit ago, and he's been starting to make a lot of Hydras back at home now. The upgraded units are going to be those Zerglings, but he's making so many of them. He's mineral dumping into these Zerglings, and he has a healthy hatchery count. His worker count's not amazing, but it's good enough. And he's going to have a very, very healthy army to be able to deal with what Patience has here. Patience is going to have to rely heavily on good force fields and really just microwing his heart out against his Hydras. Oh my God, he's going to get his Prism. Oh, he got the Prism. That's a huge pickoff. He cannot reinforce his army without this Prism here. And Patience is going to have to think twice about this attack.
Again, Patience losing chunks of his army over and over and over. You know, the longer this game goes, the more and more unacceptable that is. We now have a bunch of Banelings coming in here. You know, with the upgrades that Zerg has, this could be pretty scary as far as an all-out attack. I don't know if force fields are going to be that handy when there's this many Hydras out. The Hydras are just going to fire over that. Well, and this 3rd base is under a heavy attack.
He's going to have to force a reaction here out of Patience. Patience needs to do something to keep this Nexus alive. It's a lot of Zerg units. These Zerglings have plus to attack, and that's actually an insane amount of DPS. Great force fields from Patience, shaving off a few of those very scary Hydralisks, the Gateway Shredders. These units are just so good against what Patience has. Oh! The Banelings nearly found a juicy cluster of probes there. Speaking of a juicy cluster of probes, more of them going down. 12 in this attack here. Guru's playing a great game.
Yep, taking out all of those workers is definitely a good goal to have here. Coming from somebody trying to take down Patience. Again, Patience, though, his army's getting more and more sophisticated. Yeah. But Guru really hasn't been touched on his side of the map. This has really been Patience trying to wax on, wax off every single attack here from Guru.
And leaving a Zerg alone is the #1 worst thing you can do when you're playing against this race. You have to kill their drones. You have to make them make things that aren't drones back at home. And I mean, actually, all things considered, Guru's kind of been doing that on his own anyway. He's been making a lot more army units than drones in this game. You generally see a little bit more workers at the earlier points of the game, but he has got that worker count up to where he wants it finally on this many bases. And I mean, the creep spread's not incredible, but he does have enough units, I feel, to hold this. It's going to come down to control.
Yeah, the Protoss is going to try to bulldoze his way through this location. Zerg wants to try to get an optimal surround. I don't know if Patience wants to try to come in here. This is a really good arc from the Zerg, and notice that Guru immediately retreats, not overextending back there.
Yeah, a lot of force fields here from this army, so if Patience gets the engagement he wants, these force fields keeping all the Adepts and the Sentries alive, the Banelings getting nothing done, and he took away a lot of those very expensive and very important Hydralisks. But Guru's still with a lot more where that came from. He's starting to clench those Zerg jaws shut, and the force fields are starting to get a little bit lower in number. A lot of Sentry energy is being used here. The Adepts shading forward onto the creep towards the natural, and reinforcing from this fresh new Warp Prism.
He's going to try to come in here for another surround. I don't know if Patience can actually break this location. Patience's army is very scary. He does not have infinite force fields here, but he has pushed Zerg up to the very edge of the map, and he could get in range of the hatchery.
So be very careful to not let these Banelings bleed through. These force fields from Patience have been his lifeline here during this attack. He's keeping those sentries alive for now, but again, these force fields are starting to run out, and the Zerg units are starting to bleed through, but is there enough left for Guru to seal the deal here?
I think that Zerg might have lost too much of the army diving in and then having to run away again, because we just don't see much else. Here as the Hydras get gunned down, I think Patience is primed up to try to take out this hatchery and possibly even push further.
I think Patience has actually managed to clinch this game out, Tasteless.
Yeah.
It is looking so good for him. He's up a lot in army supply, and this attack has been so well controlled by him. These force fields have been fantastic, and these Zerglings are coming in, but there is just so much poor Protoss where this came from. The Prism's still alive. Going to the right here is a little bit dangerous, but the Hydralisks are dead, so not so much anymore.
And that's going to be it. GG! Patience with a brilliant end game there, did push through. Dude, that's not easy to do. That angle, that is tough.
And he was on the back foot in that game, man, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, Guru was playing out of his mind. He was doing a great game there on Cactus Valley. But Patience just showing how good he can control his army. And, I mean, I hate to say that he was being patient, but he was. Like, he was.
He was.
He wasn't overextending. He was taking it easy. I mean, he threw a lot of adepts away in the early game, and they were like a lot more his mistakes than Guru's gain, I suppose. But Patience is just too good at this game.
But I'll tell you something. If Patience did not manage to push through there, I think Guru is in a pretty good spot. When you have that many sentries, you can make so many force field walls over and over and over that if Zerg engages and doesn't manage to get away, you're just shaving off more and more units. Those Banelings come in there, they all get gunned down by the Stalkers and everything. It's tough. So kudos to Patience. We're going to go to a short break. When we come back, more StarCraft II action here at the Intel Extreme Masters.